Hello everyone and welcome to English with Mo. This is Muhammad Sadi with you, and today we're having a new lesson, and it will be the clauses. Now, if you remember what we have went through before, that we went through the phrases, and if you didn't watch this one, you can get back to our previous videos to watch the phrases just to get a complete idea on what exactly we're going through on our English lessons. Now, today we're having a new, or let's say it's the second part for the clauses. And as I just mentioned, we did explain the phrases before, and now what we're having today is the clauses. Now, the clauses, it's a different thing than the phrase. Now, the point is that the clause, it must, or there's a condition that must take place within the clause, that it must include the subject and the verb. Yes, that's the main condition for the clause to be applied or to take place in a sentence. So again, it's part of the sentence, or it can be the complete sentence, but the main condition is to include a subject and a verb. And so we're going through all the details about the clauses. Now, getting started here, and we can see that the first thing that we're having is, what is the clause? Now, that's the first thing that we need to identify or to understand. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. That's what we just mentioned, as we have here in the examples. I like pizza, and when the bell rang, students ran to class. So we have in the second example, in the first example, I like, that's the subject and the verb. And in the second example, when the bell rang, that's the subject and the verb. Students ran, that's the subject and the verb. So we can see that the main condition for the clause have been taking place in the examples, which is the subject and the verb. Now, moving here to the two main types for the clauses. Now, keep in mind that the clause is having two main types, which is the independent clauses and the subordinate clauses, or the dependent clauses. Now, the independent clauses, it usually takes place if the clause include subject, verb, and a complete thought. So it must include subject, verb, and complete thought. So we can consider it as an independent clause. Now, in regards to the subordinate clauses, it have different types as well. We're going through it right now. Now, the subordinate clause, it includes a subject and a verb, but it's not a must for the subordinate clause, or it's missing the complete thought or the complement that completes the meaning of the sentence, so it can be understood. As we can see here, the main clause, which is the independent clause, makes complete sense on its own. I went to the park. I, subject, went, verb, to the park. That's a prepositional phrase which work as a complement. Exactly. So here I have a complete meaning out of the clause. So that's why it worked as an independent clause. Look at the second example. The subordinate clause cannot stand on its own, and because it was raining, what happened next? So we have an information that's missing something. So because it was raining, So I have a piece of information that's missing the rest. So what happened after or later on after it was raining? So that's the part that we're missing. Now, if we're going through the different parts of the subordinate clauses, as we just mentioned, so each one is related to what we call it a trigger word. So that's how you can identify the subordinate clauses in each sentence that you have. Now, the kinds of subordinate clauses are the adverb clause, and of course it works as, or it acts as any adverb. So it modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So let's take a look at what we have here. I'll call you when I get home. So if we look at the example that we're having, when I get home, so that's the adverb clause. So it starts with a subordinate conjunction, and at the same time it answers the question of when. So as long as it answers the question of when or where, so at this point it turns to be an adverb clause, or generally an adverb, as we have just learned. In regards to the adjective clauses, so again it works the same way as any adjective. So it modifies a noun or a pronoun. So in this form, the adjective clauses, it starts with a relative pronoun. Yes. Let's get a look at the example that we're having. The book that you gave me was interesting. So let's get to analyze the sentence. The book that you gave me. Now that, it's a relative pronoun, and that's the trigger word for the adjective clauses. So if you are trying to identify the adjective clause in a sentence, so you need to look for two things. One, what is the beginning, or what's the word that the clause start with. So if it's a relative pronoun, so here it turns to be an adjective clause. If it's a subordinate conjunction, so here it turns to be an adverb clause. Moving to the last type that we're having, which is the noun clauses, and it acts as a noun. So in other words, it takes the placement of the noun. So it have 5 placements in the sentence, which is the subject, the predicate nominative, a direct object, indirect object, or object of the preposition, and we'll have a different video about this part, which is the subject placements. So the noun clause, it works as a noun. It works as a noun. So in this way, it can be placed instead of a noun. I believe that honesty is important. So here it works as a direct object. Yes. Moving to a quick summary for what we have went through. A phrase, it's a group of words without a subject or a verb. And the clause, it's a group of words, but it must include a subject and a verb. That's what we have just mentioned. Clauses can be independent or dependent, depend on how it works, or if it delivers a complete meaning or not. Phrases add details, clauses build complete ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have helpful information in regards to the phrases and the clauses, and see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.